It is Sunday, September 21st, 2025. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. Thank you for being here and taking that time to subscribe and be part of this weather community because we have a lot going on for the week ahead. So that kind of helps spread the information. A couple areas we are watching in particular, of course, Gabrielle about to become a hurricane. It will become a hurricane today. On track, the center will be to the east of Bermuda. We'll cover that in depth. And then watching these areas out here, I do believe there will be development for the upcoming week as an area starts to work its way closer to the Caribbean and the Bahamas. So we're going to have a lot to cover for the week ahead. Plus, I'm watching the Eastern Pacific as well. We have a flare up over here. I'll show you some of the modeling on this, not losing sight of southern Mexico, which could be very active this time of year. Now, we've seen those big areas of rain, parts of Belize, Guatemala, Cayman Islands. We have some rain around today at times, watching parts of the Bahamas, Haiti, some overnight. St. Kitts and Nevis, we had some of that rain yesterday. Some of it was really heavy in location, so still watching that. Now, here's what's going on. Here's Gabrielle getting closer to Bermuda. And then we have a couple spots out here. There's one little one right here, kind of a little sneaky one. We were talking about this yesterday. That should bring us some extra rain in parts of the Caribbean for the week ahead. Then there's this area here. Now, so we have two spots out here. Most of the models are trying to develop this spot. The American model is saying, hey, it may be this spot. Either way, all of the models are showing some development out of either this area or this area as it continues to make its way to the west-northwest as we go through the week ahead. This could develop into a potential threat, could be a little bit closer to land. That's what we'll be tracking as we go throughout the week. Now, going storm by storm, you can see here, here's Bermuda. Later today, Gabrielle will become a hurricane, staying to the east of Bermuda and then getting caught up in the North Atlantic and watching the Azores down the road. It could be a potential threat by about Thursday into Friday as it accelerates back toward the Azores, but you see it taking its turn. Why is it going to take a turn? Well, a couple reasons. It's going around an area of high pressure that is sitting off toward the east, and there's a front back toward the west. So as far as Gabrielle is concerned, a strong tropical storm right now, but it will strengthen just over the next 12 hours into a hurricane, and then it will stay a hurricane passing just to the east of Bermuda. Bermuda keeping a very close eye on you, of course, but as of now, everything right on track. Now, here's the big picture. Caribbean, Gulf, Bahamas, U.S., up toward the Maritimes, Atlantic region to Canada. Here's that area of high pressure. That's like the blocker, right? That keeps this tropical wave down to the south initially, and winds around it are clockwise. That allows this area just to kind of flow around it. That's why this area will pass just to the east of Bermuda, plus there's a front sitting here. So it will be taking the turn. If there's any changes, I will, of course, let you know. But you can see almost all of the variations of this European model have this off to the east, and then we'll start to draw our attention to this. Now, I'll keep an eye on this for the Azores and Europe down the road, but you could see this tropical wave here, the European model is picking up on it, and then it starts to kind of swing it toward parts of the Caribbean and the Bahamas. Now, this area hasn't formed yet, so there's kind of a couple thoughts on this based on not just the models, but what I'm seeing in the environment. One is it could just follow a path very similar to Gabrielle, but lately more of the models are trying to show it getting at least a little bit closer to the northeastern Caribbean or eventually the Bahamas. Now, it's common to have the uncertainty because I showed you out there, nothing has really even developed yet, but there is that spot we're watching, actually two spots we're watching. We need to keep a very close eye on it because if it doesn't swing out like Gabrielle, well, it's going to work in over some very, very warm waters. Look at these pockets of very warm water. We're talking about 30, 31 degrees Celsius, anywhere from about 86 to about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Super warm water. That's going to be a concern as we go over the next 2 months as we go through the end of hurricane season. If anything gets in here, it could quickly intensify. So that's why we're going to be tracking it together as we go throughout the week just to see what develops, if anything. So we'll keeping it in perspective. Again, nothing yet, but here we go. Here's Bermuda. Here's Gabrielle, and here are these two spots. Again, this is the American model. It's developing this one, but point being, the European model develops this one a little bit more. It almost doesn't make a difference. Both of the models are kind of picking up on something. The time frame is generally the same. So as we go out in time here, as we work our way into tomorrow, here's Bermuda. Gabrielle passing to the east around that area of high pressure. And here are these two areas we're watching. Even if this one doesn't develop initially, could bring us some more rain. So it's kind of a wait and see on which area may develop. But as we go out in time here, by the time we get into the middle of the week, you could see here some of that additional rain we're going to see. Parts of the Eastern Caribbean, Northern Caribbean, seeing some additional rain. So watching both of these spots. And then I showed you that warm water. So as this continues to work its way off toward the west, it's going to slide right on top of the really warm water. It's not just what's going on at the surface, though. I'm watching what's going on above our heads with wind shear and that sort of thing. But you can see by the time we get into Friday, there could be some sort of system near the Bahamas, or maybe a system just off toward the east of us in the Caribbean. Now, as far as do these make a turn, well, it will depend on some of these fronts that are working back through the United States to see how much this could kind of curve these away from land. So both of these models at this point, the European and the American, aren't showing a crazy hurricane or anything like that, but clearly a couple, at least maybe one potential threat that we just need to watch together. Again, I'm not seeing a hurricane imminent at this time, but we need to watch those tropical waves. They could get closer to land, and then we have that really warm water. So all makes sense. All right, let's get a look at what's going on, and I want to show you that as we go out in time here. Scattered areas of rain again. Belize, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Jamaica. We had some bigger storms, especially southern coast yesterday. We'll watch out for more scattered areas of rain, and we'll see that again. Northern Bahamas, South Florida, back through Cuba, Yucatan Peninsula, Mexico. But here comes that first little area. We'll see if it develops. But either way, as we work our way from Monday into Tuesday, it is going to bring us a better chance of rain. So maybe this one tries to develop or the one back behind it. But you see on Tuesday, giving you the heads up for us in Antigua, Barbuda, St. Martin, St. Bart's, for example, even down through Dominica, Barbados, St. Lucia, better chance of getting some rain. And then we'll see how this area does as it kind of slides over that really warm water. Now, here on the bigger picture, watching Gabrielle in relation to Bermuda, taking that turn, some bigger storms possible, parts of the U.S., and keeping an eye on the southern coast of Mexico. I'll show you the modeling on that in a moment. Still parts of southern California seeing some rain, and then watching this move into the British Columbia, this new area that will pop up more storms. Look at that as we go throughout the week. Here is Gabrielle tomorrow passing to the east of Bermuda, but anywhere from over toward Ontario, Quebec, especially south through the mid-Atlantic, some bigger storms back through the Midwest, Tennessee River Valley, and then you see some of the storms over toward parts of the Rocky Mountains. A really active pattern through the week ahead. You can see this here is on Tuesday. Now, to track things out in time, watching this spot here, this could be the next name system, so keeping an eye on the Baja as we work our way into Mexico, keeping an eye on this area here. But Gabrielle, in relation to, say, Newfoundland and the Avalon Peninsula, that is going to stay off to the south and east, but we'll see some big fronts that will be working in for the week ahead. Now, here's Mexico, so the Baja right here. This area I'm going to be watching for development in the eastern Pacific. Most of the modeling shoots this off to the west away from land, but I have seen these systems sometimes kick in. We've seen that with a couple earlier this season, so I'm going to watch out for that. So southern coast of Mexico, just stay tuned because, again, we could get some additional rain and a mudslide threat. Now, the Atlantic Basin, the Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf, the Caribbean, we're at Gabrielle right now. The next name on the list is Humberto, then Imelda, Jerry, Karen, and Lorenzo. So we'll see if there's some additional names as we go throughout the week. The eastern Pacific side has a different set of names. Mario was the last one. This one near southern Mexico, if it does get a name, looks likely will be Narda. That is the next name on the list. Now you can see the seas building, of course, in through here with what could be Narda developing. And then there are those swells. Here's Bermuda right here watching those higher seas. The seas are going to be very dangerous around Bermuda the next couple of days. And then as that kicks to the North Atlantic, we start to watch this. This is Tuesday into Wednesday. These tropical waves will make it a bit bumpier in the Atlantic passageways, northeastern Caribbean, Anguilla, back through the U.S., British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico. The seas are going to get higher. Now, scattered areas of rain, so we're looking at right in through here, Cuba, northern Bahamas, South Florida. We could have some spots of 2 to 3 inches of rain or 50 to 75 millimeters of rain. And like yesterday, parts of Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, if we get some rain, we could get some stronger storms. Haiti and the Dominican Republic, same thing, where we could get a quick 75 millimeters of rain if you get a storm. Could see a couple inches in a few of the storms passing by parts of Puerto Rico, watching the British and U.S. Virgin Islands. And then all week long, all eyes will be on what's going on off into the Atlantic. But anywhere from Antigua, Bermuda, south through St. Lucia, Barbados, Grenada, St. Vincent, the Grenadines, Trinidad, we could get some heavier storms. Again, not widespread, but we need to watch out for some isolated areas of flooding. Northern Suriname, northern Guyana, back through northeastern Venezuela, better chance of rain. And still in through here, higher totals. Belize is a good sample where some spots not a whole lot, but others we could get 4 inches of rain or 100 millimeters of rain. And then monitoring what could become NARDA, southern coast of Mexico, at least some additional rain that will be a possibility. Then this in through here, those are some of the thunderstorms. Much of Texas, not a lot, but just seeing if any of those storms kind of eventually clip by as the week goes on. So 40 to 50% chance of scattered areas of rain. Some of us get some bigger storms, some of us don't across Jamaica the next few days. And in the Cayman Islands, I already mentioned, we already have some areas of rain and storms around. Let me know in the comments what you're getting. Put your location and your weather. 40 to 50% chance of scattered showers possible, Trinidad and Tobago. And you see in Barbados, by Tuesday, the rain chance is going to bump up with that first area moving in. So you see in St. Lucia, rain chance today 30%, but by Tuesday, we're up to a 50% chance. In the next few days, 3 days, in Grenada, a 30 to 40% chance. Now, we work our way back through St. Vincent, the Grenadines, 50% chance of a shower or storm today. We'll do that again on Tuesday, another 50% chance. And we swing to the north. All eyes on Tuesday, and then the rest of the week, Martinique for the rain chance building in Dominica, 40% chance tomorrow. Then we'll be up to a 50% chance on Tuesday. We do that again in Guadeloupe. Rain chance will be building as that first tropical disturbance or tropical wave starts to slide in. Antigua, Bermuda, Tuesday about a 40% chance, maybe higher. So I'll be watching that. You see at St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat, still an isolated chance of a shower or storm today, but it will get higher as we go throughout the week. Just a 20% chance today in Anguilla and St. Bart's, but by Tuesday, about a 40 to 50% chance. And we do that again, St. Martin, Saba, and Statia. Same thing, minimal today, building throughout the week. Puerto Rico, 40% chance of scattered areas of rain and a couple thunderstorms, and a 20 to 30% chance the next 3 days, U.S. and British Virgin Islands. 40% chance today in the Bahamas, 50% chance for tomorrow, 30% chance today in the Turks and Caicos, and a 40% chance for tomorrow. Holding on to some scattered areas of rain, the Dominican Republic and Haiti, still watching the rivers, still watching that mudslide threat. We swing back toward Belize. Some pockets we're getting dumped on, others not a lot. 50% chance of rain today and a 40% chance for tomorrow. Aruba, Curacao, Bonaire, rain chance staying kind of minimal, 20% chance for today and tomorrow, up to about a 30% chance by the time we get into Tuesday. A little bit higher chance of Guyana tomorrow. We're looking at a 40% chance, and we could in northern Suriname see a better chance of rain today, about a 40 to 50% chance. 40 to 50% chance will hold as we swing back through Cuba, a 70% chance. Costa Rica and Panama, same thing. I've been watching your comments. Some of us seeing the rain, seeing the mudslides, and some of those higher rivers. Nicaragua, 50 to 60% chance. We do that again around Honduras. Some of us dry and just very hot. Others dealing with that potential of some flooding the next few days. Guatemala and El Salvador, we're going to be seeing that, the potential of flooding. The active pattern rolls on. 40 to 50% chance around Mexico City, and a 40 to 50% chance across the Yucatan Peninsula with some scattered areas of rain. 50% chance in northern Colombia, and about a 40 to 50% chance in northern Venezuela over the next 2 days. Bermuda, watching Gabrielle, watching the high seas, some gustier winds, but the bulk of that all staying off to the east. I will watch, though, for any changes, of course. So Gabrielle right on track, tropical way back behind it, actually multiple ones. So we'll be monitoring for development as we go throughout the week ahead. In those areas could eventually threaten land, either in the form of a lot of rain or a developing system. The next name on the list is Umberto. So thank you for being part of this weather community. Have a really good day ahead.